No active quarterback has a higher interception percentage than Jameis Winston. It's 3.4%. Only two other active quarterbacks have interception percents over 2.7. Gabbert at 3.2 and Sam Darnold, the aforementioned, at 3 even.
Mhm.
Since 2012, only 7 quarterbacks have been on a roster with a higher interception percentage than Winston. Derek Anderson, we saw that. Mark Sanchez, both at 3.8. So again, how do the Browns? And you wrote another article relative to this. You've been writing a lot about the quarterback position. So how do you do it? What do you do to mitigate his propensity for turning the ball over?
First thing is you can't throw it 60 times or have him drop back 60 times like he did the other night. Any quarterback, Dave, in that situation is going to throw some interceptions, right? You can't ask him to go win you games. Like, he can't be the driving force of your offense. You have to have a run game. The Browns don't have any semblance of a run game right now. They can't get any push up the middle. And there's a number of reasons for this. Injury is part of it. They changed their concepts in the offseason, to fit Watson, and he's no longer a part of this world. And some of the personnel doesn't really match what they're trying to accomplish, right? As far as they don't really have like big bruising offensive linemen. They have guys that they brought in to run that wide zone scheme. So now you switch to something that requires you to get push up front, and they're smaller, older offensive linemen. And they're just not getting any push when they go to run the football. And that makes them one dimensional. We saw it last year with Joe Flacco. They were tremendously one dimensional. When he was the quarterback, he was the guy fueling the offense, and it exploded up in a terrible, disappointing performance in the playoffs, right? With a couple pick sixes. You're seeing a similar situation here where they can't run the ball at all. So ultimately, the game script and that lend itself to him throwing the ball 58 times on Monday night. Uh, but that's never going to be the best result for him. You have to put other weapons around him. You have to give him a run game. He's actually really never been in a situation where he's had a really good run game around him in his entire career, maybe for a season in New Orleans. But, he in doing so in this offseason, that would be the biggest thing you can do to mitigate his turnovers. That in the coaching, right? Talking about risk versus reward. Like some of his turnovers on Monday night, Dave, the risk was so much higher than the reward on a 5-yard out that you're throwing from the opposite hash. You know, of course, he missed it about 15 yards inside. I'm talking about the interception he tried to throw to Elijah Moore late in the game, but the reward there is 5 yards, and you're throwing it 25 yards across the field. You know what I mean? So some of those need to be coached out of him. Now, can a tiger change his stripes this late in the game? I don't know, right? But you got to try, right? Where you are on the field, down, distance, score, all these things need to be reminded in his headset all the time. But the running game is the biggest mitigating factor. A run game around him, I think, would change that in a big way.